Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Stern Spiel, a weekly podcast where I talk to my dad about all things happening in pop culture, news, entertainment, and also our lives. So, welcome back. It's episode 9.
Welcome back, Veronica.
I think a few more people listened last week, which is very exciting.
Yep,
it's still early days.
This podcasting thing is hard. You have to tell people about it. You can't assume that anything. And YouTube is the search engine. Podcasting is where they tune in on an overall recurring basis.
So, what's going on?
So, first of all, how was your week, Veronica?
Okay, so my week has honestly been horrible. I've been up and down emotionally, physically, mentally. It's just been kind of rough for me. I want to be honest because I just feel like it's boring if I come on here and I'm like, yeah, everything's great. And like, I think with social media, and I hate it when people say this, but they're always like, social media is a highlight reel. But like, it's not a highlight reel for me because I just like don't really post. But like, I think people perceive me to be like, quote unquote, successful. And it's just like, sometimes it just gets to me because I have these weeks where I just feel very wildly unsuccessful. Mostly just like unsuccessful, but also like, I can't explain it. I can't put words to it.
Let me try. So because I've spoken with you a little bit, so I think I know what you're talking about. So as a performer, there's a lot of downtime. And in that idleness, you have time to think inside your head a little too much.
Too much.
And is that the down that you're talking about?
I
mean,
don't
on
know.
social media, you look at people's social media feeds, people don't, although there are exceptions, most people don't post when they're bored, when they're tired, when they're sick, when they're angry, when they're feeling anxiety, right? So people might look and get an unrealistic picture of how awesome it is.
I think that there's this feeling sometimes of just like you see people on social media posting their days, posting get ready with me, posting day of my life, being so productive on social media, and I'm like, wow, why can't I do that? Like, why can't I just turn on this camera and like make something up, And it's just hard. Yeah. And not to like be a downer right now, but I did watch a very interesting interview this morning on The View. With okay, this is super downer, but I'm just going to talk about it. Do you remember the TV personality, like extra host Chesley, who died?
Chesley?
Yeah. Beautiful, like Miss America. She died like 2 years ago.
Chesley. This is vaguely familiar. She was a Miss America contestant named Chesley.
Yeah.
You're going to have to give me a little more.
She like unalived herself.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I really don't remember the story.
Well,
not clearly anyway.
She was this beautiful girl and, everybody thought that she had everything going for her and like she was gorgeous, Miss America type.
I think I do remember this story.
She was like she was like not an extra, sorry. On Extra TV, I think, the like news show.
Wait a second. There are two stories that might be running together. Was this woman more like was she an anchor on Extra?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Thank you for that was the word.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember now. Yes. So, I do remember this story.
So her mom was on The View this morning because she's publishing her book. Not the mom's book, Chesley's book. I guess Chesley was writing a book before she died.
Right. This tragedy happened at the
New York City.
The buildings in New York that new pocket of buildings.
In Hudson Yards or
something.
something.
Hudson Yards. Yes, I remember this story.
So her mom was on this morning, talking about her, and it was just interesting because I remember when this happened because I didn't follow her, but like, you did see this person on social media being like super happy, posting everything. And then just like social media is not really real. And it just has always spooked me because you just don't know what people are going through. Yeah. And it's just like really just interesting sometimes when I'm like, jarring. I should be posting more. I should be doing this. I'm like, but that's not how I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
So I just always like to remember that because I just am like, if I was like posting something right now about how productive I am and like how girl bossy I'm being, like it would just be kind of a lie. Like I literally thought I had the flu yesterday.
You went down and back up pretty
Yeah,
quick.
I literally thought I had the flu yesterday.
Shout out to Deborah's Chicken Soup,
Yeah,
right?
my
'Cause
mom made insane chicken soup. It was literally like medicine.
Anybody watches the show, you know, I went through one of these 2-day flus a couple of
Right.
weeks ago.
Which is why I was like, I guess I'm getting it
and
now.
I chicken souped my way through it. And
It's incredible.
It actually is incredible.
Yeah. So I thought I was getting the flu yesterday, and then I've been having anxiety all week because I had to have a chat with my agent about, you know, what I want to do, you know, career goals and stuff like that. And it was nerve-wracking for me, and it caused me to have a lot of anxiety. And that's the truth of like what was going on this week. And I'm kind of like in this holding pattern, waiting for another job that I'm interested in. So it feels good to speak.
What do you do with that anxiety? That's it.
What do I do with the anxiety? Well, I try to go to the gym.
Right.
But then I went to the gym 2 days ago and I literally had to leave because I was like, I don't feel good.
Right.
And I was like not able to like get my, like sometimes when I go to the gym, like I can tell something's wrong because like I don't have the energy to get through like You're whole thing.
More tired than usual.
And I was like, I don't feel good. So I left. And then, yesterday I thought I was going to have the flu, but so I tried to go to the gym. I really, really am trying hard not to just like scroll brain rot on my phone too much. I found myself doing it today.
I caught you doing that a couple of days ago, and I was going to confiscate your phone.
All right, Dad, relax.
Right? You can't do that really to
you literally did that.
20-something, but I tried.
You were doing that. You were also brain rotting the other day.
I was, but you know what I've discovered with that? Here's my marker. If I see the same advertisement come up twice within one cycle of scrolling, that's my signal to myself to put the phone on standby and put it face down and do something else, because it is such a dopamine like cave that you get yourself into. You have to climb out of it. Look, I'm glad that you're recognizing the anxiety. I'm glad you're talking about it. It's healthier to talk about it. That Chesley, that story was awful.
Yeah.
When it happened, I do remember what you're talking about, and you don't know what's going on in people's lives. And that is the God's honest truth about social media. You see that moment, but you have no idea who these people are. You really don't.
No.
Even people who are media luminaries who are on television constantly, you think you know them. You don't.
No, and I think that the other thing I was going to say about social media and the reason why it's just been bringing me down a little bit this week, there's just been so much bad news this week. Mm-hmm. There's always bad news, but I just think this week in particular, it was like worse. And with the stuff in Israel, more than usual.
Yeah.
This school shooting that happened yesterday.
Yeah.
And we're experiencing, and I know it's such an eye roll when you say it like this, but we're experiencing this news in a different way than I think we ever have. Because, I'm scrolling on social media and I see the stuff about Hirsch, and, it's not just this news story that I feel like, 5, even 2 years ago, I would have just watched this news story. Obviously, I would have been upset about it. And then, every once in a while you would check back in. Mm-hmm. Now it's like, you see his mom on social media all the time. I watch these videos, watching everything that has to do with it. And it's just like horrible.
All right.
And that, and then also the thing that happened in Georgia today or yesterday, and it's just like, again, it's horrible. Like, why did I watch a 5-minute video of a girl at that school recapping everything that happened to her that day?
Well, so
it's just like, when is it too much? And like, when are we going to start censoring things on social media a little bit better?
Well, so here's my only response to that is everyone has to individually decide when they've absorbed enough for themselves. And the other thing is, and this is very important, you have to be able to sort of separate the tragedy that you see on television from the reality of your own life, or you will lose your mind. Because look, I know you're a socially conscious person. I know you're a politically minded person. It's all we talk about around here.
Yeah.
But, there isn't a war in our zip code
Yeah.
right now. So you have to kind of be able to like mentally compartmentalize it. It is going on, and it's always going on, and it's always been going on, and people have always processed
Yes, but
tragedy.
Dad, you
And
have
you
to
know
admit
what?
it's worse than it's been.
No, it isn't. I can't necessarily admit
Dad.
that. When has there not been 5 or 10 wars going on around the
Dad,
world?
but
When has
no,
there
no,
not
no,
been?
no.
There's been a dozen Holocausts,
Okay, you kind of got
right?
me there.
It didn't happen in Rwanda. It didn't happen in Bosnia Herzegovina. It didn't happen in Europe in the 1930s. Of course, it happened. But the point is,
But that's what I'm
you
trying
don't
to
want
say.
it to ever happen again. But you have to But then if you allow those tragedies to shut you down, then it's compromised your life also. So everyone has to find the balance for themselves.
But Dad, that's what I'm trying to say though, is like, it's not that these things haven't been happening for years and generations. It's that all of the sudden it is in the palm of my hand, and I can be scrolling and enjoying like what I'm seeing and like
Right.
what I'm watching.
And then it comes on.
And then all of a sudden it comes up, and you can't help but watch it. And if you're like, I hate to use this word, but like an empath, and you feel every single thing that you see and you watch, it can be too much.
I hear you. I'm not going to argue against that. I know I know it's happening. I know that's how a lot of people experience it.
It's just been a difficult week on social media, I think, and I've been trying my best to deal with it.
Right.
I have a lot of stuff planned for the weekend, which I think will be really good, and I have a lot of stuff I'm looking forward to next week. I think it's just been a little bit of a like low time.
You have to regulate.
Right.
That's I think where that lands. I want to give a quick shout out. This is, since you asked, how am I doing? How am I doing? I'm doing pretty well this week. Okay.
Uno reversed me.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to the team at New York Presbyterian Hospital.
Why?
Because
not sponsored,
but
they can be.
This is truly from the heart. If you've watched the show, you've heard me talk about this. I'm a headache sufferer.
Migraine sufferer.
Migraine cluster headaches. It's a look it up. It's a terrible thing. And I went to a neurologist. They said you need a stronger preventative. She prescribed something, and it worked. But you got to take it once a month. It's one of these TV advertised things. I never thought it would going to work, but it worked. The process of getting that prescription filled was a hellish nightmare. Okay, that became a part-time job for like 3 weeks.
Wow.
Okay, and it involved a job I didn't know existed called prescription liaison. There is such a thing, and they work for the hospital.
Okay.
And they help the doctors get these difficult to fill prescriptions filled.
Right.
So Adelia from New York Hospital, if you're out there, thank you. She called me today, as a matter of fact.
Oh, that's so nice.
Right. She called me today just to make sure that it showed up.
Aw.
So, make a long story short, it's a monthly subcutaneous injection, a shot, right? And
it gets stored in the fridge.
And it gets stored in the fridge. So I go to the front door. First, I got, like daily email reminders about this. And finally, it said, UPS sent me a tickler saying it's delivered.
Right.
So I went to the front door, and this it's like a box the size of a suitcase. Okay.
Dad, it was not the size of a suitcase. We're inserting the video right now.
Inserting the video right now.
It
so you
was
can see
not
for
the
yourself.
size of a suitcase. It was the size of a normal Amazon package.
It was a very large box, considering what's inside is 3 pre-filled hypodermic needles.
Okay.
Okay. And it was it
was like a cool ice cooler.
It was a foam container, very tightly lidded foam container, and it had that squishy stuff that's frozen to keep the product cold.
The ice packs.
Right, and so it goes in the fridge, and I got a 3-month supply. Thank you, New York Hospital. I just want to say there's this unholy alliance between the PBM, the pharmacy, and the insurance company and the doctors, and it's very complicated, and you need professional help to cut through it sometimes, and that's what I got. So
Okay, so I wanted to talk to you about this article that I read this week in the New York Times. You're going to think this is interesting. It was an opinion piece, and it said, "Are we getting too comfortable with other people's dogs?"
I think I read this.
Did you? Oh, I sent it to you.
I
sent it to you.
I think I read this. Maybe that's where I saw it. Was this the thing where the ethicist was talking about the ethics of bringing a dog into a restaurant?
Yes.
Okay, I did read
So
that.
basically what it was is this person, I guess it was an ethics person, basically said, "I'm dining out."
Time out. The ethicist is a recurring column in the New York Times
Oh.
where they present situations and then the ethicist comments about the ethics of the situation.
Okay. So it was called "When I'm Dining Out, Should I Have to Deal with Your Dogs?"
Yeah.
And essentially the scenario that was like put up is that these people were out to lunch at a New York City restaurant. The restaurant allows dogs, and a woman walked in with 2 dogs on a leash and sat down inside of the restaurant.
Okay, I'm grossed out already.
All right, let me just
Go
finish.
ahead. Yep.
It actually does get really gross. One of the dogs sniffed her coat and got a mucus stain on it.
Gross.
Both were whimpering and whining and restless, moving around under our table. They both smelled.
Gross.
Then she asked the waiter to serve her dogs water. This is the person with the dogs.
Gross.
The waiter bent down to the ground, placed a container there. The dogs noisily slurped the water, and later the person's mother joked that she should walk up to their table, panting and barking and coming inches from their legs
The whole thing
under
is
their table to give them a sense of how we felt.
The whole thing is a great big no for me. I would have walked out.
So basically, I don't know if this is an issue in other parts of the world. And I'm sorry, I know that's like the word's not xenophobic, but you know what? Let me finish what I'm saying, okay? Essentially, and I know your answer, but like let's just talk about it a little bit. What is the solution here with the dog situation in restaurants? Personally, I'm sorry. If you have a dog and they have to come into the restaurant, like you need to just like either not come into a busy crowded space. Like I've always had an issue with it because it's just like, I get it if it's an emotional support animal and I understand that that's a thing, or like a guided dog. Like if you're blind, obviously you should have your dog, but like if it's an emotional support animal, I don't know about eating inside. Eating outside is fine, but like bringing your big dog inside, I just don't know.
No, bringing
like
any
I don't
dog
want to
inside.
like upset anybody, but it's just a lot. Especially these New York City restaurants are tiny.
Restaurants are for people to eat food, not pets.
Right.
So I'm sorry if you enjoy eating with your pet. That's something I think you should probably do at home.
Right.
And, maybe there's special restaurants for bringing your dog and go there. But if you're in an ordinary restaurant, the expectation of a typical customer is that it's going to be free of pets. Because a lot of people are allergic.
Yeah, that's the thing I've never understood.
No, people are allergic.
Yeah.
People are afraid. And I also feel like, it's tough enough to have a clean eating environment anywhere you go. Allowing people to bring in their pets adds another layer of sanitation or requirements that it's very difficult for any restaurant to live up to.
Well, in New York City,
noisy,
it's illegal.
And people are afraid of them, and it makes you jumpy, and it's like, why? It's just, in my opinion, I don't want to be a dogophobe or whatever the word is. I don't want to have an ism assigned to me by this, and then the next thing you know, I'll get a letter from the ASPCA. I don't want to hear it. I just feel like what the ethicist said in that article was very on point.
Right.
Which particularly bothers me that she asked the waiter to get water for her dog. The waiter is there to serve people, not pets.
Right. And the biggest issue with the woman in this scenario is that She came into this restaurant. It's a small restaurant. She brought 2 gigantic dogs. The dogs were not properly trained, because there's a big difference between emotional support animals that just like sit very quietly underneath the table, don't bother assault, you don't even know they're really there,
Right.
and then somebody that just brought their 2 dogs into a restaurant. Like,
No,
it's not okay.
I mean, you know something, this concept of the emotional support animal.
All right, Dad, be careful.
That is a fine line, because I mean, in theory,
All animals are
all
emotional
animals
support.
are all pets.
In a way.
All pets are emotional support, and they did make that distinction in the article,
They
which
did,
is
yes.
which is to say, like, if you need a dog to see
Right.
for you, bring him in.
Of course.
Bring them in. And those kinds of dogs are always well trained, and they sit
Yes.
there and they're looking out for obstructions and anything that's going to disrupt the path of the person that they're working for. They're very highly trained. Of course, anyone with a heart is going to want that person to be able to come into the restaurant
Right.
and leverage the benefit of their dog. But if you're just you have an emotional need to have the dog around, then maybe the restaurant's not for you.
Maybe.
That's what I would say to that.
I just thought that was so interesting, because I think we always talk about it. So it was just like nice to see that somebody kind of agreed with us. It was just like, there is a point where it becomes a little too much.
So we always talk about popular culture on this show, and what I noticed this week is that there are these websites that list the best movies on Netflix.
Oh.
The 50 best movies on Amazon Prime. The 50 best
Wait, what
movies
is it called?
on HBO Plus. I don't know where I came across it, but it was a series. Where was it?
Vulture?
I don't remember now. But there are so many of these lists. If you just
Oh,
Google 50 best movies on Netflix,
Yeah.
they'll all come up.
Right.
And here's the thing about it. How many movies could you possibly watch? This is like the entertainment complex glut that we're living with right now.
Well, it's called overconsumption,
It's
but yes.
too much. I mean, if you have 50 best Am Prime, 50 best Max, 50 best Disney, and 50 best Netflix, that's 200 movies.
It's too much.
I haven't seen 200 movies in the last 15 years.
Yeah, it's just too much.
So
Overconsumption is real,
do
and
they cancel them each other out? Who's watching all that content?
I mean, here's the thing. What happens is the cream rises to the what's the saying?
Right. The best rises to the top.
Yeah, the cream of the crop rises or
Yeah.
whatever. And that's what happens. I don't know if I've watched a movie on Amazon in forever. But by the way, Amazon is owned by MGM. So all of those MGM movies that, are in the movie theater eventually go to Amazon.
Right. And who's writing the reviews, and how do we know the reviews aren't biased? I mean, it's just the whole thing is just
Yeah.
a completely out of control thing. And
Well, do you know
what
do you
to
know
say.
Letterbox?
What's Letterbox?
It's a app where you can write reviews of the movies you watch, and it's kind of like for cinephiles, but also it kind of has a social media following, because people write just the most out of pocket reviews about movies. So for example, when Challengers, the tennis movie.
Yeah, the
So,
one with
Zendaya.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when that came out, you would go to Letterboxd to see the funny things that people would say about it. People would be say inappropriate things, but I'm not going to say them on the podcast, but you just funny things. So Dad, it's just overconsumption and oversaturation.
Time out.
It's
I got a question.
horrible.
Did any of these 200 top 50 movies from all these platforms, did any of them come out theatrically?
Well, did you write any of them down?
No, but I mean...
So then how would I know?
Do HBO Max movies come out in the movie theater?
Oh, yeah, everything comes out in the movie theater now.
All these movies come out
Not
in the movie
everything, but
I don't see
I'm
that
sure
being
that if
possible.
you okay, what is it called? I'll look it up. Want me to search the best 50 movies?
50 best movies on Amazon Prime.
50 best movies on Amazon Prime today.
Yeah.
Well, okay. 50 best movies on Amazon Prime. I'm sorry. I have to use Siri to speak. Oh, well, I mean, New York Times has it.
Oh, maybe that's where I saw it. I probably was cruising the New York Times.
The best movies on Amazon Prime right now.
Yeah.
Well, no, these are all old, actually. I don't know, Dad.
I don't know.
Also,
It's too much.
It's all
too many.
subjective. Art is subjective.
Right, but it's
Your best movie might be different from my best movie.
I know, but 200 or 50 best is like, it's too high a number. It should be 10 best and stop there.
Dad, really quick, what's your favorite movie of all time?
All-time favorite movie?
Like one you always go back to.
That's a tough one. I mean, I'm not going to rewatch it, but Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Aww.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
The one with Gene Wilder.
Yeah, of course.
Where the dad jumps on the bed.
I don't remember that.
The grandpa.
The Bodyguard was a good movie with Whitney Houston.
Never seen that one.
Yeah, good movie. And Justice for All with Al Pacino was a good movie from the 80s. Best movie more recently. I haven't been to the movies in a long time.
I was going to say, when was the last time you went to the movies?
I really can't. I can't come up with them, but I'm switching channels.
Wait, ask me mine.
What are your favorite movies?
So I would say West Side Story is like my all-time favorite movie.
Okay.
Original, not the 2021 version. I would also say The Cheetah Girls.
Movie?
Yeah.
I thought it was just a TV show.
No, it's not a TV show.
They made a movie where they went to Barcelona or something.
They're all movies.
But was that a theatrical release?
No, they were never theatrical releases.
Got it.
The only Disney Channel original movie that became a theatrical release was the Hannah Montana movie and High School Musical 3.
If it's on TV and it's longer than 30 minutes, you consider it a movie.
The Cheetah Girls was a movie.
Okay, I was answering your question in the context of movies in the movie theater.
All right, if you want a movie that came out in the movie theater that I really enjoyed Challengers.
With Zendaya.
Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. And with some of that was shot in New Rochelle, very close to where
No, it wasn't shot in New Rochelle. It was set in New Rochelle.
Oh, it was set in New Rochelle?
Yeah, it was shot in Boston.
Oh, I didn't understand that distinction. So switching over to a different genre here. Okay, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately because I've been walking a lot more and trying to get some more exercise. And one thing I have to say is, like, I listen to some of these podcasts that are sort of news and politics focused, and I have mixed feelings about it because they're talking about things that happened like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days ago in many cases.
Interesting, because they're not daily.
And you know it all already.
Yeah.
They are daily. Like the New York Times has one called 7 Things.
Oh, yeah.
And the problem is that it maybe came out 24 hours earlier, or it came out 2 days before. If it's Monday, you're listening to the one from Friday, or heaven forbid you didn't download it before you go out to walk. You got to listen to an old one. It's like,
wait, Dad, you download it?
It's like reading an old newspaper most of the time.
Wait, Dad, you download your podcast before you go walk?
Well, yeah, because I don't want to use
data.
I don't want to use data, over 4G.
That's nice.
Because I have a limited. Plus, I just download the ones that I want. It only takes like 10 seconds to download a podcast episode, and then you don't have to use up any 4G.
Such a different life than I live.
Yeah. Well, one day you'll be paying all those bills.
I do pay my own.
You will
I do
be
pay my
frugal
own
too.
I do pay my own phone bill.
Okay. So that's what I have to say. CNN 5 Things, very good, but if it's more than 24 hours, if it's more than 12 hours old, it's too old. The 7, same thing. NPR, sometimes they go into some interesting conversations and interviews, but again, most of the time they're talking about, did you hear what Kamala Harris said last night? And it's like,
last night?
I did. And you move on because it's boring.
Wow.
So,
you know what is always topical and always fresh? The toast.
The toast is good, and they get into the details sometimes. We like the toast in this house. I quite agree. So what else is on your agenda, Veronica?
That was it for me.
Oh, so in other words, you were leaning on me to bring enough content to fill the half hour this week, and I managed to pull it off, huh? If I say so myself?
I literally brought like 2 different things that we just talked about.
Well, but there was
You'll see when you roll the tapes.
There was a comment in last week's program that I didn't bring enough to the
sometimes
show.
You don't.
Right.
But you did this week, and I think it was a great episode.
Today I did. So we are post-Labor Day.
Uh-huh.
Goodbye to the summer of 2024. And it was a great summer. For me, it was mostly anticipation of taking Quincy to college. I'm glad that anticipation is behind us, and now we can think about other
We'll
things.
redact his name.
You can redact if you want. I mean, it's not the end of the world. We've mentioned other people's names.
Okay. My highlight of the summer was... Oh, yeah. I mean, every summer since I've graduated from college has been like the summer of transition. And
that's life, though. Life is a series of transitions.
I know. But it's always like one thing ending, another thing waiting around for it to start, you know?
For example, goodbye, summer fruit. Hello, summer fruit from other parts of the world.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
Because it's always summer somewhere.
Yeah. It's just like so crazy to me that like, what do you consider summer? June to August?
June, July, and August. Yes.
Oh, right. Anyways,
a little of September, but
no, I don't consider any of September. I don't consider any of it.
Well, it's not fall yet.
Yeah, it is. It's so nice outside.
No, it's not. But
like officially,
those are seasons that have start and end dates.
Oh.
It's not fall yet.
Anyways,
I don't think it's fall till like
to retrospectively look at summer. It's just crazy to me that like the beginning of June, I was still on tour, like truly, like still had like a whole month left. Did all of that.
There's a thing called Indian summer. Do you know what that is?
No, what's that?
So Indian summer is technically, it's the first warm day after the first frost. So the first time it's like cold at night, like 32 degrees, and then the next day it gets warm again. That's called Indian summer, yeah.
Is it one day or is it just like a phenomenon?
I think it's more like a phenomenon, but it's my understanding that like people refer to Indian summer as warm days in the fall.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
But that's generally. But the technical definition is you have to have a frost, and then the subsequent warm day is considered Indian summer.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I really enjoy fall because I wrote about this a little bit in my Substack this week. I was just like, fall and September to me always mark the start of like new beginnings, and like because that's when school would start and stuff like that. So it's always kind of what I feel is like the beginning of something new. And it's like September has so many different holidays. Like there's a lot of Jewish holidays in September, which are always fun.
All coming up.
It's all coming up. So, and the weather changes, which is just such a relief to me because I enjoy nicer weather. But when it's just like unbearably hot, I'm just like, I can't do it.
You put your finger on one thing important worth mentioning, Substack. We've got a bunch of Substackers coming in as a result that you're publishing stuff on Substack. I find when I write things on Substack and point back to the podcast, people pick it up that way. So Substackers, we love it when you come in here and watch the show, and we know you're doing it because we can see the numbers.
In terms of social media platforms, for me right now, I'm trying to change my thinking, and for me it goes Pinterest, Substack, Instagram.
Okay.
All my love to Instagram,
right.
But that is just a cesspool for just negativity and just like unfortunate like news,
right.
and it's just becoming a little too much for me. Substack is like la la la, I can curate what I like to see, and everybody's kind of more intelligent, no offense, and like, you know, and then Pinterest is just like, I don't have to talk to anybody on Pinterest, but I can still enjoy all the things that I enjoy.
The mother of all of them for me is YouTube, and always has been. And we'll come back to this in another show. It's a different topic train, but YouTube is not exactly what it's been historically. I'll tell you one really quick thing, and then we got to go. I learned this week that if you search for videos on Bing, you get better results.
Bing?
If you search for YouTube videos on Bing,
Why?
you get a better results page than you do searching on the search tool of YouTube. Try it out for yourself. It's incredible. It's because of the way YouTube is structuring the search results. It's not, they're shoving in a lot of shorts, and they're putting in a lot of sponsored ads and a lot of stuff at the top that you don't even care about. And so it's interesting. Try that. It's an interesting tip. I got that from a guy that I follow named Epos Fox. Anyway, we got to wrap up this show, Veronica. Right. So go ahead, call them out and sign us off.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching. We are almost to episode number 10 of the Stern Spiel, which is just such an amazing milestone for us. So please, for us to get there, we need you to like, subscribe, support,
Follow.
comment, follow everywhere. The Stern Spiel. You can follow me at Veronica Stern on Instagram.
At New Charlie Stern on Instagram.
And we post clips, and we hope you enjoy them. But we really hope you listen to the whole episode. So yeah, thank you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.